and the animal also, lives in the mountains. It's a part of life for people. And so there's that layer, and then there's the kind of the ordinary mundane layer of day-to-day life and day-to-day farming, and then there's Junior sort of integrating a cell phone into all this, and very excited about the the latest edition of Halo 4. And then there's Grandma, who doesn't speak a word of Spanish despite 500 years of conquest. And then there's this layer of Catholicism over the rain god and the corn god and the jaguar and the serpent. And all these, up here we call it magical realism, but it isn't. It's just the way life is there. It's multi-layered and it's all happening at once. And that's what I'm sort of trying to, to recreate, is that, that is the blend of people's lives down there. And it's hard for us to imagine.
You're a very passionate person, and this is obviously an issue you feel very strongly about, as most people should. But in an interview with the Georgia Straight after The Tiger came out, you expressed some ambivalence to the role of being a writer, and it seemed like you wanted to devote more of your time to activism. To what extent do you think you've changed your view at all on this?
I do think, just watching events yesterday, in Paris, in the street is a very, very powerful place to be. And as a writer, I feel sort of insulated and safe, and sometimes it feels almost cowardly to me. And at the same time, there are things that a writer can do, the time that they're allowed to take, the depth to which they can go. You need to be away, you need to be separate to gather all these details together and render them into a story. And that is who I am, so I have to kind of reconcile myself to that. And I'm not so much of a street warrior, as much as I deeply admire those who do that and feel like, it's, increasingly time to be in the street, for all kinds of reasons. And you see also watching these people in Mexico who are, walking the walk and talking the talk, and, who are just by practicing the modes of farming that they do and maintaining their language and maintaining their spiritual base are, in a way, are activists. And it's really powerful and inspiring. These are people with no resources, and they're doing it on grit, and it's really inspiring and very humbling.
What's going on in France right now is showing us the power of art, and I think, do you think actually fiction or nonfiction is more powerful in terms of changing people's minds, in terms of human trafficking?
There's a way that novels get into people that nonfiction, I'm a nonfictioneer, it's very, very dear to me. And at the same time, a lot of us on the nonfiction side kind of look over at those fiction writers and like, wow, they have a way of touching people. And, both. You need both. And I'm proud to call myself a nonfictioneer, and yet at the same time, you're able to kind of get inside a character in a way that other people can access and resonate to with fiction. That is harder to accomplish in nonfiction. And partly, I think, because you're allowed to